In the ancient world, stories were regarded as more than just mere entertainment. They were seen as sacred, profound vessels of wisdom. Through metaphor and allegory, they revealed hidden truths about humanity and the unseen forces shaping our world. In time, cinema has taken on that mantle, using the power of storytelling to warn us of societal upheavals, expose buried realities, and challenge the illusions that keep us bound to invisible systems of control. Across the history of film, we find worlds that reflect our own, cautionary tales of futures forged by our darkest tendencies, and messages urging us to reconsider the path we're on. These films were not just stories, they were prophecies. Now, it's time to uncover their hidden meaning. In the film Eyes Wide Shut, Stanley Kubrick portrays the ultra-wealthy as participating in secretive, elaborate rituals whose purpose is never explicitly revealed. Interpretations suggest that these ceremonies help to perpetuate the illusions that keep society subservient, preserving the elite's wealth, influence, and control. By positioning themselves as gatekeepers of a higher order, the powerful encourage the masses to view social hierarchies as natural and even beneficial. In the film, Stanley Kubrick revealed that the ultra-wealthy may be conducting these rituals out of a spiritual belief in their own superiority, and in order to perpetuate their manipulation and illusions cast over the public. This begs the question, what illusions do they cast, and to what ends? First, manipulation by the powerful is essential because it protects the oligarchy. An oligarchy is a power structure in which power rests in a small number of people whose characteristics may include nobility, fame, wealth, education, corporate control, religious control, political, or military control. Basically, an oligarchy results in a society ruled by the wealthy power elite at the tops of these institutions and establishments who are able to dictate control over how everything is conducted. In theory, this could work, but in practice today, an ethos of greed extends in all institutions to protect the excess wealth of the oligarchy. Most people today do not fully recognize the oligarchy's growing dominance and concentration of wealth. Instead of a balanced distribution in any way, wealth is vacuumed from the bottom up to the top as much as possible to the extent that the system can still operate. Today, extreme inequality has risen to an all-time high, with the wealthy becoming wealthier and the poor becoming poor. The problem has grown exponentially to obscene levels. According to Oxfam, currently the world's richest 1% have inflated their wealth to more than twice as much as 6.9 billion people. And so there is a great injustice in how our systems operate. They are under the guise to serve and protect us, but they only benefit a few in how they currently function. And this injustice is maintained through careful manipulation, lies, and illusions.
Sucks, and it's the same reason that it will never, ever, ever be fixed. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions.
Why does this occur, that inequality grows, granting greater powers to the oligarchy? This occurs because our modern society has an unhealthy attitude towards money and material wealth. Subconsciously, individuals believe that money is the most important thing in life.
I want you to deal with your problems by becoming rich!
We are a species that places money as more valuable than human life and the planet itself. We suffer from money worship disorder, and it has created a mass behavioral complex that everyone on the planet is affected by. We deceive ourselves into believing that money and materialism will bring us true happiness.
Greed, for lack of a better word, is good. Greed is right. Greed works.
Because we worship money, it's no wonder that our institutions have become a mirror reflection of that attitude and belief. So we have an overall system in which people and most human organizations have all become greed empires, competing to expand and protect wealth just like everyone else. This is the oligarchy. It's likely you've heard the term in your life of trickle-down economics. That in itself is an effective illusion by the oligarchy, because it's really the complete opposite of that. It's actually a trickle-up as much as possible economic system. What usually happens is it results in a power structure where those that are not the powerful elite, which is the 99% of everyone, are underrepresented, limited in self-governing power, and restricted from altering society or bettering the lives of themselves and others through meaningful choices that we would be able to make if we lived in a true democracy. You see, much of politics is a manipulation to protect power, to protect the power of the oligarchy. By keeping us behind the veil, divided and confused, we are manipulated by politicians and political parties to make choices between one or two limited and often meaningless choices. We don't get to vote directly on the individual issues that impact our lives. Instead, we are left choosing between two major political parties, each with candidates who claim to represent a broad spectrum of concerns. When meaningful legislation is proposed, whether to improve healthcare, address climate change, or enhance social welfare, it often faces immediate opposition, not based on merit, but simply because it originates from the opposing party. Lobbyists and corporate interests further influence lawmakers to block these bills if they threaten powerful stakeholders. Critical issues like education reform, raising the minimum wage, or implementing common-sense gun control can languish for years due to partisan gridlock. This constant obstruction erodes public trust in government. And so we are led to believe and feel that we are incapable of governing ourselves effectively due to our tribal conflicts. However, that is all an illusion itself. For what we can't see is, the whole system is functioning exactly like the oligarchy wants it to. In this way, meaningful choices that would bring about positive change for people and the planet are always negated. And that means that the financial wealth of the oligarchy systems are protected. Perhaps you've heard the saying, look at who benefits from the situation. Well, the oligarchy always benefits. While we run around fighting in the dirt, throwing mud at each other, confused and manipulated into arguing over trivial, petty nonsense, minor problems that don't really matter, the oligarchy are the ones that always benefit from this. So knowing this, that leads us to the next question. How is this oligarchy achieved and maintained without all of us realizing it yet? This is the role of the master manipulators. The most powerful manipulators acting against us want us divided against each other and always in a state of confusion. Division and confusion allows them to continue to profit from our ignorance and keeps us from realizing the great illusion that they cast. Our division and confusion, usually maintained through media and politics, keeps us from seeing beyond the veil of illusion. Be most cautious of those who cause us to hate and despise each other. They, and those in the media that work for them, are working to benefit themselves in power and work together to maintain the elite oligarchy. They know the magic formula to maintain the oligarchy's power. It is a spell they have cast on the masses for generations that keeps them conditioned to never challenge the presence of the oligarchy. What is this spell? The spell is division energy. When we are turned against each other, we are not then turned against them. They know that if we are united, then we can be united against them. And so if we are united in what we want, then we are a threat. If we are united in what we want, then we are united to replace those in power with someone better suited to serve our true needs and the true needs of the planet at this time. And that is why division energy is necessary for them to generate in our minds. I know how some of this might sound like an elaborate conspiracy theory, but it's actually not. It's actually just business as usual. And what's really going to cook your noodle is, much of this happens on a subconscious level.
Monsters from the subconscious.
Now, there are a lot of conspiracy theories, and I'm sure you've likely heard some of them. Some of them perhaps are innocuous, but many of them are dangerous because they are manipulations, lies, and deceptions as well. There are many manufactured conspiracy theories that seek to divide us or cause us to despise and distrust our institutions. These conspiracy theories actually weaken the institutions that should be out to protect and serve us. They weaken them to protect the oligarchy. They may need to weaken an institution if the institution serves us too well and then threatens the power of the oligarchy. However, there has always been one true conspiracy, and it has been employed on us for millennia. In the 1999 film Instinct, the prison guards distribute playing cards to the inmates, telling them that whoever gets a certain card will receive a reward. This immediately creates a conflict among the inmates, who begin fighting and competing with each other to obtain the prized card.
Give me my card!
The guards stand back and watch as the chaos ensues, using the situation as a form of control.
I got it again! Ace of diamonds!
Later, the guard explains to Theo, the prison psychologist, the purpose of this exercise. He reveals that this is a deliberate strategy to keep the prisoners divided and preoccupied with their internal conflicts. By creating a rivalry among the inmates, the guards ensure that the prisoners remain too distracted to unite or pose any collective threat to the authority of the prison staff. This story serves as a microcosmic example of the always true conspiracy theory known as divide and conquer. You've probably heard it before. It has always been employed on us because it always works. You see, all other conspiracy theories that divide us and cause us to hate each other only serve to maintain the oligarchy, and that's exactly what they want. In this way, many conspiracy theories are manufactured illusions themselves that serve to maintain the oligarchy. And conspiracy theories work well because people are easy to influence when they are influenced by their preferences, as I explained in the previous video. You might be asking, why does divide and conquer work so well? You see, there has always been a weakness in man, a darker nature in the individual that can be exploited to turn us against each other. This is the master manipulation that the worst supervillains in real life employ: fear, blame, and hate. You see, the spell they cast is fear. Our reaction to fear is blame, and the eventual result is hate. When we hate each other, we are divided against each other, and when we are divided in hate, blame, and fear, the oligarchy feels shielded as they are no longer being challenged directly. And when we are divided in hate, blame, and fear, the power of the oligarchy is protected and can be maintained. Divide et impera stretches throughout history. Utilized by Roman ruler Julius Caesar and Napoleon, it was described by Sun Tzu in The Art of War, possibly as early as 221 BCE. Divide and conquer has been used by nations throughout history to divide power of opposing forces. Forces both outside of a nation and forces within the population of a nation itself. Through this ever-effective technique of manipulation called divide and conquer, the power of the oligarchy has always been protected and maintained.
It keeps them focused on something.
The strong take it from the weak every time.
And the rest of them focus their anger on the ones who take it and not on the guards or the medical staff. It does work.
For us. It works for us.
The Wolf of Wall Street portrays society's obsession with money through the life of Jordan Belfort, a stockbroker who becomes wildly wealthy through corrupt and unethical practices. The film boldly shows the extremes to which people will go in their pursuit of wealth, and how society often rewards this behavior rather than condemning it. In The Wolf of Wall Street, money is portrayed not just as a tool, but as an idol, an object of worship that dictates societal values and personal choices, often at the expense of humanity and ethics. The film critiques this worship of money while simultaneously drawing viewers into its seductive power, creating a reflection of our own cultural priorities. Our systems are merely a mirror reflection of who we are as individuals. Both rich and poor alike, we worship money. We worship the rich, giving our power away to them. So subconsciously, we manifest what we are. Our systems are a manifestation of what we concentrate on. Rather than focusing on correcting the flaws of inequality in the system that is, we rather focus our energy on becoming wealthy just like the oligarchy. This is where human concentration is really going. And so, nothing fundamentally changes in one of our greatest problems. What we see in the world around us is just a reflection of what is inside of us. So until this underlying confusion of our society is recognized, we will not be able to make real progress towards its eventual improvement. We can't enact positive change yet, because anything and anyone can be bought out for money. Because we collectively worship money. Money is our God. And this is a great false belief that we deceive ourselves with. For whatever it is that we worship, we give our power away to. This is one of our greatest illusions. And from an objective look at it, the problems of the oligarchy today exist just as much inside of all of us as they do externally from us. Just as much as the powerful deceive us, we also self-deceive. So, to answer the question, what's the point of all the illusions in the world? The point is to cast an illusion in our minds that protects the oligarchy. The oligarchy exists in its current harmful state because of our collective toxic subconscious projection of our valuing of money over all other things, including people and the planet. In the beginning of the fifth element, an ancient and malevolent entity referred to as the Great Evil emerges as a dark sphere of immense power in deep space, threatening to destroy all life on Earth. It is portrayed as a sentient, chaotic force that represents absolute destruction. The story begins in 1914, when archaeologists in Egypt discover ancient inscriptions indicating the existence of this great evil and the means to combat it. The inscriptions reveal that every 5,000 years the great evil returns, and its destruction can only be stopped by uniting 4 mystical elemental stones representing earth, air, fire, and water, with a 5th element, a supreme being representing life itself. Fast forward to the 23rd century, and the great evil manifests as a growing, ominous black sphere in space, absorbing everything in its path. This opening sequence establishes the stakes and urgency of the narrative, highlighting the cosmic scale of the threat and a need for ancient wisdom to overcome it. The great evil in the 5th element can be described as a powerful metaphor for the all-consuming force that threatens our modern world. This all-consuming force represents the concentration of power and wealth in the hands of a select few who manipulate systems, governments, and societies to serve their interests at the expense of the greater good. This all-consuming force thrives by perpetuating inequality, dismantling regulations, and exploiting both human and natural resources, ensuring its dominance remains unchallenged. Through its immense influence, the all-consuming force shapes narratives, controls media, and gaslights entire populations into complacency, making its existence seem inevitable and even necessary. This all-consuming force insists on perpetual growth and profit, regardless of the devastating toll on the planet, economies, and human lives, ultimately consuming its own foundation of sustainability. As a parasite, this force infiltrates and erodes the very structures it exploits, feeding off the labor, innovation, and resilience of those it oppresses. The all-consuming force casts illusions of choice and freedom, while suppressing dissent and awareness, hypnotizing the masses into supporting a system that undermines their own well-being. Recognizing and challenging this all-consuming force is imperative to breaking free from its grip and reclaiming a more equitable and sustainable future. This all-consuming force is a powerful metaphor for the concept of oligarchy. And the 5 elements themselves are symbolic of unity, combining them together to create a holistic society where we finally recognize the interconnected needs of all of us. In The Matrix, Neo, a computer programmer, begins to sense that something is deeply wrong with the world around him. A mysterious hacker named Morpheus reaches out, sending cryptic messages that resonate with Neo's unshakable feelings of disconnection. Following the White Rabbit, Neo embarks on a journey of awakening, slowly discovering that the world he lives in is an elaborate illusion designed to blind humanity from the secret power structure that controls everything. In The Truman Show, Truman Burbank leads a seemingly idyllic life, unaware that his entire world is an elaborate fabrication, a television set designed to entertain millions. A series of strange occurrences shatters his perception of reality, and he begins to question the truth of his existence, embarking on a quest to break free from the carefully constructed illusion. In Dark City, John Murdoch stumbles upon a hidden reality controlled by a race of beings known as the Strangers, who manipulate time and memories to reshape the world and lives within it. His growing awareness of their control leads him to resist, piecing together the truth of his existence. In They Live, a drifter discovers a pair of sunglasses that strip away the facade of normalcy, revealing a hidden layer of reality where subliminal messages dominate every aspect of life, and humanity is unknowingly enslaved by a powerful alien elite. As he grapples with this shocking revelation, he must confront an unsettling truth about the forces shaping the world. Together, these films explore the profound moment of awakening, when individuals realize that the world they know is not reality, but a carefully constructed illusion designed to manipulate and enslave them. They each depict the courage required to question everything, challenge unseen powers, and seek the truth hidden beyond the veil. These films act as a prophecy for our modern world of the 21st century, as today millions of people are beginning to awaken themselves, finally beginning to realize the hidden truths in the world we live in.